One Chelsea winger ranked in the 99th percentile for dribbles completed before he joined us, but you barely saw a flash of it in blue last season. And we're going into a new era under a new coach, but no one's quite sure what formation we'll be playing just yet. Pre-season starts on the 28th of July. The whole squad is a question mark at the moment. So here are 5 players I'll be looking out with a keen eye on this pre-season. It will be interesting to see which formation unlocks who, and could be a sign of things to come for Xabi Alonso's first season in charge. So number 5 is a quiet one, Mike Penders. He's just returned from loan from Strasbourg, and although he's only 20 years old, the stakes are real, and there are a lot of reports saying he will be competing with Sánchez as our number 1 goalkeeper next season. Because this loan wasn't just a young loan, another player to Strasbourg. He had 32 Ligue 1 appearances, kept 8 clean sheets, made 102 saves. He was their first choice from day one and led them to a Conference League semi-final, wasn't ever present all season. All that at 20 years old as a goalkeeper is very rare. Goalkeepers normally use their experience a lot, but if you're 20 years old, you've not got much experience. He turns 21 at the end of July, and Chelsea reportedly really believe in Mike Penders for the future. I think maybe it's a year or two early to be giving him the number 1, but testing him against Sánchez in pre-season, there'll be a number 1 fight over the course of next season. There's a real job up for grabs, and if Penders takes his opportunities in pre-season, we could be looking at our number 1 for the whole year. Modern keeping is a lot more than shot stopping. He is really good with the ball at his feet. He's one of the highest positioned goalkeeper in the whole of Europe last season at Strasbourg, and a ball playing keeper is non-negotiable under an Alonso possession side. We know Sánchez isn't the best at passing out the back, but his great shot stopping saves us more often than not. One catch though, he is back later than his rival. He was at the World Cup with Belgium, whereas Sánchez wasn't, so he returns about August the 1st. But in the US and Mexico and Canada, of course, he impressed the right people out there with the Belgium squad. Learning from Courtois you couldn't get anyone better really. So over pre-season, in the games that he can play in and he's available for, I'm looking at the game time he gets, and if he's more assured than Sánchez, we know he has a mistake in him. I want to see if Penders looks comfortable at a big club, at perhaps a big stadium at Stamford Bridge when we play Real Sociedad, or if he looks like a young goalkeeper that is trying a bit too hard to impress. But number 4 has much bigger uncertainty. I've got Jamie Gittens here, and like I said, this list is about keeping an eye on players, because with Gittens, I'm not quite sure what we're going to be getting next season. Getting. That 99th percentile stat from the start was from his 24-25 Dortmund season. He was in the 99th percentile for dribbles completed and in the 96th percentile for progressive carries. He is an elite ball carrier, and in the Bundesliga, that is no joke. That's a top 5 league. And he joined us for a significant amount. It was about £60 million. So why did he have an underwhelming first season at Chelsea? Well, he had injuries quite a lot of stop-starts. He never locked down the left wing position because either he would get dropped or injuries mostly. And a detail that probably should worry you, Dortmund were happy to sell their youngster because he didn't fit in their 3-4-2-1. Now, everyone basically expects Xabi Alonso to play with the 3-4-2-1, although we're not quite sure yet. Pre-season hasn't started. There is options and rumours of a 4-2-3-1 going about. But read that again. He didn't fit the back 3 idea that Dortmund were integrating. He's a pure winger, and they didn't think he would fit a wing-back role, and he didn't think they would fit an inside role. He's a one-on-one take-on winger as a left winger, and that doesn't really exist in the 3-4-2-1 shape that Xabi Alonso used at Leverkusen. But this is a new manager. Maybe he sees a way to fit him in. But this is my bold call. I'm predicting that Gittens actually has a impressive pre-season and could even break into the starting 11 next season. He's worked hard all summer, as you can see in his physique. He started pre-season from day one. He had a full pre-season. He wasn't playing games towards the end of the season. His whole first season at Chelsea was an adaptation year, which isn't really what you want, but with injuries, that's just how it happened. With early friendlies against weaker sides, I think he'll be getting minutes, and there is clearly a very talented footballer in there, and I think he could score some screamers. Behind closed doors, it's already started. Against the behind the closed doors friendlies against Crawley and Bromley, he started both in a 4-2-3-1, reports say, and scored in both as well. Like I said, the talent's there. Pre-season's where he finally shows it. The only question is where he fits into the shape. But he's not the only player that scored 2 in 2 in the behind closed doors friendlies. My wildcard shout is Emmanuel Emegha at number 3. My hottest take, you could say. A lot of fans have already written him off. They're saying that he's just another Strasbourg player. They want him loaned out again and Jackson to come back as our backup to João Pedro, who is our number 1 striker, of course. But I think that's wrong. I really believe in Emmanuel Emegha. Doubters have some evidence, to be fair. The move was agreed on the back of a strong season. His 24-25 Strasbourg campaign, where he was captain of Strasbourg, he finished as their top scorer with 14 league goals in Ligue 1, and they finished 7th, going into Europe under a certain Liam Rosenior as their head coach. Last season sort of fell apart, but it wasn't all his fault. He had a serious thigh injury, he was out till January, and not to mention that the public transfer was agreed, so maybe his head was in a different place, which isn't what you want. Obviously you want the best professional at Chelsea, but that must be quite difficult knowing you're getting a transfer after the season but still having to perform every day. And while he was out injured, someone actually stole his shirt as the striker for Strasbourg. Panikele, the Argentinian, scored 10 goals in 17 Ligue 1 games, a goal every 89 minutes, and people saying we should have signed that Strasbourg striker and not Emegha. Just now editing, I have seen the news that Emegha actually got injured in that Bromley game. He's done his hamstring, which sounds like the long-term injury he had at Strasbourg, which is not good news, to be honest, and you can't really be looking out for him in pre-season, in the first few games at least, if he's not going to be in Australia. He's not even travelled with the squad. It's never a dull day as a Chelsea fan. However, he could still link up depending on the seriousness of the injury, which is not confirmed as I speak. He could link up with the team later on. I know they go to Indonesia and other places in Asia. But yeah, it's not great, and it could be a knock-on effect with Jackson staying, depending how serious this injury is. If it's not too bad, look out for him at the start of the Premier League. I still do believe in him, but yeah, signing more injury-prone players is not good. But Emegha's 23 now. He scored 31 goals, 7 assists in his 78 Strasbourg appearances. He has always been a young, high-ceiling striker with quite a unique profile. He's really tall, 6'5". He looks physical enough, but he's not a lanky, clunky player. He can link up play pretty well. And he's only joined up now. He's been at the start of pre-season with Xabi Alonso, of course. And like I said, against Crawley and Bromley, he scored 2 in 2 like Gittens. So what does he actually have to show me in pre-season to impress? So I need to see something that sets him apart from Jackson. João Pedro will be our starting striker, unless Xabi Alonso sees him playing maybe a deeper role, in which case Jackson and Emegha could fight for that starting striker spot, but I don't see that happening. I need to see some Premier League level finishing. With Jackson, his composure in front of goal and his shot decision making, he just hasn't really improved since he joined Chelsea, and that's very frustrating. Jackson's link up, however, is very nice. He can flick it around the corner really nicely, but I think Emegha can do that too. So if he can show both of them, then the whole conversation changes, I think. If he can score a few nice goals, maybe some one-on-ones, good finishes, some headers, maybe perhaps he could challenge João Pedro at the start of the season. But whatever happens, I really don't think a loan will be happening. I'm backing him when a lot aren't. Number 2, though, tells us something a lot bigger. Marco Palestra was our first signing, a £47 million signing, which hints at the formation Xabi Alonso wants to potentially play, as we didn't just sign him from the sporting directors. He was signed at Alonso's request, beat Inter Milan to signing him at the last minute, and Alonso reportedly convinced him to join, so I'm imagining he told him which role he wants to see him as. Looking at last season properly, he was on loan at Cagliari in Serie A. He's got 37 appearances, and it wasn't just a developmental loan. He actually won the Serie A Defender of the Year, playing as a fullback and wing-back on both flanks. But it was the dribbling numbers that were absurd for a defender specifically. He was 3rd in Serie A, 118 dribbles attempted, 81 completed. And in fact, nobody in Europe did it more. He had most dribbles of any defender in the top 5 leagues. And he had 67 touches in the opposition box, which is 5th in the Serie A too. Physically, he's a monster. He's genuinely rapid. He won the Serie A Speed Award, clocking 27.96 kilometers an hour top speed. So the thing I'm watching is his license to attack. If the shape starts with a back 4 and he's maybe like a right back, will he be absolutely bombing forward and overlapping while the left back, perhaps João Hato or Landon Emanalo, who's been playing in the behind closed doors friendlies, will they shift across into more of a 3 and build up? Or will he be a tucked in fullback that has a license to go forward but primary job is defending? So watching Palestra and you're watching the whole shape appear. But before we do get on to number 1, just to address the biggest question mark and the biggest thing that everyone will be looking at on the first game of pre-season on the 28th of July against Western Sydney Wanderers is the formation that Alonso starts with, the one that he sort of utilises in build-up as out of possession. Because we know the story, at Leverkusen he played quite a distinctive 3-box-3 formation where he got 87 wins, 34 draws and 19 losses. Then moved to Real Madrid where he only spent 233 days after a mutual departure, where he had a lot more talent, especially attacking talent at Real Madrid, and used more of a 4-3-3 sort of shape. It had the same profiles and the same sort of ideas that he wanted to see football being played as, but it wasn't quite a distinctive identity like the 3-4-3 with the absolute wide fullbacks or wingbacks and the box midfield. I'm sure he'll utilise different shapes in pre-season against different oppositions too. So every player on this list does answer the question in a different way. Each pick is a test of Alonso's system. Penders' role will show how he wants his goalkeeper to be played perhaps. Gittens, if he's going to be playing with 1v1 touchline wingers or not. Emmanuel Emegha to see what sort of striker profile he wants. He had Boniface and Schick at Leverkusen, both slightly different, and João Pedro and Emegha fit them. Schick's very similar to Emegha, Boniface similar to João Pedro. And quickly, more players that I'm interested in seeing is Josh Achampong to see how much trust he's actually given by Alonso. Even Wesley Fofana to see if Alonso can almost get the best out of him. We know Fofana's a great defender in his day, but yeah, he's injured a lot, but then no one really mentions the fact he's not had his day for a long time. He's really not impressed me as a centre-back for a long time. I want to see how the midfield is balanced, if it's just a double pivot with Caicedo and Lavia, although a lot of the players like Caicedo, Enzo, Reece James, Malo Gusto, Morgan Rogers, they were at the World Cup, so they won't be playing many games, I guess, in pre-season. They get 3 weeks holiday. I'm sure they'll play the last couple of games in some capacity, but it'll be waiting till the start of the season to see what role they actually have planned for those players. But number 1, and perhaps an obvious one, but also the scariest, I've got Cole Palmer. I think it's a make or break season, to be honest. It's not about his talent or really where he fits. It's about just his confidence and getting the old Palmer back. Last season, he was a shadow of his former self. He missed 19 matches in all comps. He had a groin sort of injury that was just plaguing him throughout the season. And at the end of the season, he only got 10 goals, 1 assist, and a lot of those goals were penalties. It's his own fault almost that he set his standards so high when he joined Chelsea. But I think this is a fitness story. I think he had been playing so much football and quite intense football, especially under Pochettino, that perhaps it makes sense that he lost his momentum. So the thing I'm watching is pretty simple really. It's just, does he look like his old self? Does he look like he's running around perhaps a bit tentatively with a sort of injury that he's carrying? Because you can tell those sort of things. The players aren't going to be shooting with 1 foot at maximum strength, or if there's opportunity for a pass or a sprint, they don't go for it. As well as just seeing him, I want to see him play with a smile on his face, like just freely. You'll be able to tell that quite easily. It's quite easy to tell when Cole Palmer's happy or not because he's got this cheating grin on his face. If he's playing with no fear, it'll be quite easy to identify. And tactically, I want to see him off the touchline. He doesn't quite have... He does have pace to beat a man, but I want him infield and not as like a right winger. That's where Palmer is best. I said it before, you just want him centrally and you want him on the ball as much as possible because he'll take risks, play with no fear, because he knows he's going to get the ball back and have the opportunity to do whatever he's just done very soon again. And he really needs a field of trust from Alonso, know his exact job. Under Maresca, he didn't look particularly happy, and Rosinia looked like he couldn't get his ideas through to the players. Xabi Alonso was a superstar footballer in his time, so he will be able to hopefully get to see eye to eye with our best players and get it to click and get the most out of them. If you get Palmer firing, everyone else starts performing well as well. and it will be scary for opposition teams. But everything I've said so far does miss one point. The turn is that they're not really 5 separate stories. It all hinges on the unknown of the formation, and not even just the formation, just like the profiles that Xabi Alonso wants to use at Chelsea. The first shape will be really interesting to see, and just different shapes that he uses in game. And then once we played our first couple of games in pre-season, we've got Western Sydney and then Tottenham Hotspur. I'll be breaking down what we've learned in a video on this channel, so look out for that. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll enjoy this one you can watch as well too, right here. So click there, I'll see you there. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.